Well, today the African Union Commission appointed a special envoy for women as a result of the conflict situation in some African countries. Just to point out, well, she's joining us here for the very first time since her appointment, Madam Binta Diop. Thank you very much for joining us here on Africa Live. I'm going to start off with the conflict situation and what Africa is setting as a goal for the continent to end the conflict by 2020. That is just 6 years away. Is that feasible?
Thank you. Let me just say that it is a great honor for me to accept this position. And also I feel a lot of humility because the continent is very big. So your question about how Africa in the 20 years to come is going to end is possible, it's doable. It's doable because we see that we have been able to end it in some countries. Sierra Leone, imagine 20 years back how it was. Imagine how was Liberia and many other countries that were in war. But when they have the vision, collective vision, determination, and put the resources in place, they will end the violence that is occurring in this continent. So I think
you're talking about the ambitions of the African people. You're talking about the will, the determination of the African people to end the conflict. Do you feel, though, that there is political will from Africa's leaders to
Definitely, because I think that Africa is realizing more and more, and the leadership, but in particular the people of Africa, they are realizing that we have a lot of resources in this continent, and yet we are not benefiting on those resources. So people are saying we are poor while our continent is the richest. And what is impeding that we benefit from those resources, I think a lot has to do with our conflict, our violent conflict happening in many places. You name them, Central African Republic, South Sudan, and many other places that are not yet stable. So I think the people are demanding, you know, through what is happening in the media, through mobilization of the people, the leadership are saying, hey, our young people, what do they need? Job creation. They don't need to be enrolled as child soldiers. So I think the people are demanding, and there is no way that the leadership will not respond to this.
The leadership is going to respond. The leadership, in your words, must respond to this situation. You have been appointed the Special Envoy for women and children in conflict situations. What are you going to do?
You know, I come from a background of more than 30 years of women's rights activists. The organization that I founded is called Farm Africa Solidarity. You know what I was doing previously in my life was going in conflict areas, listening to the women that are victims of war, that have been raped, go out there, collect resources for them, give them the hope that they need. So I will continue, but it's within the African Union context, under the leadership of Madam Dlamini Zuma, because I think these women have a great vision how to implement what the leaders of Africa are saying. Because what are they saying now? They said, we want an Africa that is prosperous and with peace with itself, but also centered on the people, on the development based on people. So I think if we take those three elements, and the women forming the majority, and Madam Zuma saying, I wanted to work with the youth and the women because they are the one who will make a difference. Political will, yes. Mobilization of our own resources with the support of the international community, but now we need to make it happen.
All right, and indeed Africa is going to make it happen. Madam Binta Diop, African Union Special Envoy for Women and Children in Conflict Situations, joining us here for the very first time since her appointment. Thank you very much for being with us here on Africa Live.